Tony Stark. I build neat stuff. I got a great girl. And occasionally, save the world. So why can't I sleep?
You gotta wear the suit this time.
Yes.
I can only imagine how uncomfortable that was. Was it bad? What was it like?
It wasn't bad at all. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed having it on. My son was on set. He was so excited that I was wearing the suit. So it was great.
What was his reaction?
I'll never forget his face. He was just like stunned and, touching it and then trying it on, and it was cool.
So, are you saying the other boys are wimps? Because they've been complaining about it.
They are beyond wimpy. It is so not a big deal. I mean, the first movies, Dawn and Robert, and they were all like, "Oh God," but it's not. It's fine.
I heard they were like sweating and hyperventilating. What were they like?
Robert is like when he wears the suit, especially. I think also, to be fair, in the first movie it was a much heavier suit, and he would get in it and have to stay in it, and he would be like meditating and like chanting and saging himself, or it was very funny.
Okay, so for you it wasn't that intense.
No, but I do think in his defense they made the material a lot lighter as the movies went on, but I didn't think it was bad at all.
Okay, very cool. And you play Pepper Potts, you're sporting the red hair, your hair always looks great, so I thought it would be fun to ask you, have you ever had any hair disasters?
Oh, I've had tons, yeah. I mean, I did this thing recently, did like a hair straightener and fried my hair ends. And one time I was doing a movie where I had brown hair and I went to get the roots done because I had blonde roots coming through, and they made it black, and then they were trying to wash my hair out with laundry detergent in the trailer. I mean, I've had millions.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be? Because Pepper kind of gets into that a little bit this time around, but...
I would clone myself so that I could be in two places at once.
Just two clones?
Just two. That would be it.
So how would that work out? What would one clone do? What would the other do?
So, like, one could be picking people up from kickboxing while one was making dinner, or one could be on a conference call while one was going to ballet, that kind of thing. Okay, and very quickly, I know you have a love for food. I heard through the grapevine that Leonardo DiCaprio was the one who got you to kind of stay away from meat. Is that true? Oh, yes, in my first book. Yeah, years and years ago, he got me to stop eating red meat with something really disgusting that he said. I could never eat it again.
What did he say?
I can't say. I don't want to be sued by the beef industry like Oprah.
We'll defend this country at all costs.
Jacki Jing from Denver, Colorado.
Whoa.
Whoa. So you've spent some time there, right?
Yeah, I've spent a little time there. Elementary school and high school, and yeah.
Where do you go to elementary school?
Home Elementary. I don't even know if it's still there. Southeast.
Southeast, okay, and then high school?
East High School.
East High School, very cool.
Where'd you go?
I went to Grandview High School. That only came out like 10 years ago or something. It's relatively new. And I was down south, far south, like Centennial. But
oh, there you go.
Do you have any good memories from Colorado?
None. I was drunk for most of that time. I'd like to remember, but that whole part's been wiped out.
Where were your hangouts in Denver?
How could I remember? I was blacked out. No, come on, look, I was young, I was in high school, I was involved in the theater, I was involved with the band, I played soccer there, so I don't really have a lot of like hangout memories, but my parents still live there and I go back from time to time.
Are they still in Denver?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So where do you hang out now? Because now I think...
My parents' house, usually.
Just solely the parents' house?
Yeah, mostly there.
Okay, very cool. I feel like that's so exciting. People are going to love that. So do you ever take your girls out there?
Yeah, of course. They got to see the grandparents and everything.
Do you guys go to the mountains or anything?
Yeah, we go to the mountains. We live close to the reservoir. We go over there sometimes and hang out. We ski. So, a lot of stuff to do in Colorado.
Okay, very cool. So talking about your daughters, I read recently that they don't think you're cool, even though you're in the Iron Patriot.
I mean, it's like kids. I mean, what kids think their parents are cool? I think if you're cool with your kids, then, I don't know, something else is going on. They think I'm their dad. They know that. So that's cool.
Okay. So they don't see Iron Patriot on the screen. They're not like, Dad, holy coolness.
No, I just watched it with my daughter, and she didn't do that once. So I think she's kind of over it.
So I heard that wearing these big metal suits is a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's cumbersome. They don't articulate that well, and You know, they're a little clunky, but look, if it makes it all look believable and it works, then you know, you just deal with it.
Any horror stories in them?
Like bathroom accidents or something like that.
Sure.
That would be a horror story. No, I don't have any of those. I rocked the diaper for it the whole time.
You did rock the diaper?
Yeah. I don't want any mistakes.
So it's like, hey, if you gotta do it, then you gotta do it.
Whatever.
And tell me, what attracted you to playing Iron Patriot again? What do you love about this character?
Well, you know, getting to come back as Rhodey and just, you know, in this film I was involved with a lot more of the action, you know, outside of the suit, which was a lot of fun for me to get to do all the stunt work and to work with that team that's really, really strong. And to, you know, come back and play with Robert again was a lot of fun too. So it was just, you know, it was just like 2, but more of it.
What I kind of liked about this version was that Iron Patriot wasn't really like the sidekick. It was like 2 superheroes. Do you believe in that? Do you think it's 2 superheroes? Do you think you're like the sidekick? How do you interpret the role?
I felt like Robert was more the sidekick. I don't know why it's called Iron Man 3 and not, you know, War Machine 1. But whatever, you know, I don't title these things.
So someone made a mistake.
Yeah, big one.
The Mandarin must be stopped.
You don't know who I am. You'll never see me coming.
Sir Ben, you are so awesome. You play all of these tough, fearsome to very compassionate, passionate type of people. So I want to know, you know, you play this villain, he's really hardcore, he's really intense. How do you get that tough aura, that like bad guy type of persona? Like if I'm in a bar, someone's giving me a hard time, what kind of look do I need to give them? What kind of charisma?
I can't help you there.
Really?
Because I might be the guy giving you a hard time, so...
What do you mean?
Well, you have to interpret that as... By hard time, do you mean flirting with you or being really overtly mean and aggressive?
I'm mean and aggressive, like they want to fight, so what do I need to do?
I think you have to go extremely still. So, 'cause any sign of aggression, then they'll be able to interpret what you're thinking. I think the most frightening thing in an adversary is you don't know what they're going to do next. So it's a kind of blankness, but not a sort of stupid blankness. But that would be impossible with you anyway, because you have a very intelligent face. But a kind of you. I mean, the lines in my role were amazing. You know who I am. You don't know where I am, and you'll never see me coming. And it's the never see me coming, I think, that's most threatening about
So the mystery.
about our movie Anti-Heroes, the mystery. Yeah.
Okay, so can you show me how that would be? Just be
No,
like...
I can't. Not unless I'm surrounded by loving students.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the death stare kind of almost.
Yes.
So
And a kind of indifference. Indifference to the effect they're having. A carelessness about the effect they're having. So, you know, they're not trying to impress anybody. And I think my Mandarin has a kind of preacher's, teacher's truth. He has to believe in his totally lunatic, horrible philosophy. But he has to inhabit that totally and with total belief.
talking about Mandarin, one of the most feared, most popular villains of all time. I'm a huge comic book fan, and I thought your interpretation was great, but how did you prepare for this role? I think it was such a big role to take on because there's so many different interpretations.
Well, I think it brings me back to that point that rather than try and give I am pretending to be evil performance, I have to give a performance where the Mandarin looks as though he believes in every word he says, in his philosophy, that he has the way, the truth, the way forward. He is the answer to destiny. It's a kind of totally confident stillness.
Okay,
which I lack in life, so I have to pretend.
Well, you sold it in the movie. So this is kind of a fun question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
If I had any superpower, wow. You see how arrogant I am? I don't think I need one. Isn't that awful? If I can't think of one, what's that telling me? Maybe I should be a little more vulnerable and say, I wish I could... Ooh. Honestly, I can't answer the question. That's true. Isn't that terrible?
You're perfect. That's what it is.
No, I'm not. I'm sure as you leave, I'll think of something.
Good, then I've got the wheels turning, right?
Yeah, you did. You did.
You're not a man. You're nothing more than a maniac.
You guys play these nerdy scientists, so I wanted to know, how did you bring out that inner geek? Like, how do you bring that geekiness out?
Well,
It's really not hard for me to access my inner geek. I definitely, I mean, I certainly wasn't geeky about science at school, but I definitely, if you define geekiness as being obsessive and sort of tunnel vision about something, then I was definitely that about music and books.
You were a music geek? What kind of geek were you?
I was a music geek and a sort of literature geek. I don't know. I was a geek. I would obsess about things, just not science and maths.
Okay.
Not Maya's domain, really.
Your character had a whole different level of nerdiness at the beginning.
Well, that's right. I mean, he's somebody who's also sort of struggling with all kind of physical difficulties, and I think in the world that he inhabited, he was just obsessed with scientists, and obviously had heard about Maya and had been following her research, and so I think on the same sort of level, he was obsessing over probably people that he really admired and things that they did that he was not really able to do, but he could see the world that they inhabited, or the benefits or whatever it was that they could create. So he himself is not so much a scientist, but somebody who likes to bring scientists together to kind of create some alchemy, I guess.
Okay, so were you a geek or no?
No, I wasn't a geek at all. But I think I've become more geeky as I've gotten older about certain things, maybe.
Okay, you pulled it off well in the movie.
Thank you.
So, if you guys could have any superpower, what would it be?
Any superpower, what would it be? I'd like to have the power to be able to speak any language immediately.
Yeah, that's a pretty
That'd
good
be
one, isn't
really
it?
cool.
I was just going to say to fly, but that one's great.
And fly. And fly and speak other languages at
the same time.
Ah, bonjour, ça va? Comment allez-vous?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'm trying to visualize this. It's kind of strange.
Because you want someone else to fly
I think
with.
you just gotta fill.
You'd want someone else to fly with, so you could suddenly
could have
speak
a
Dutch with
chat.
each. Yeah, so you could have a
Exactly.
chat. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, who are you
Otherwise, it's
talking to
always
in French as you're flying across the Atlantic?
I think you wouldn't even
Just
have to
to
learn
yourself,
the language if
you'd
you're
be
talking
this-
to yourself, because you just pretend.
And you just
So
fly.
I've watched so much Danish television, I believe I can speak Danish, but I know if I actually sat with someone, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't be able to.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so talking about the nerdiness, you transformed into this hardcore, slicked back hair, suave type of guy. So how do you get that like suave, kind of like cool chick, cool guy kind of aura? Because I need all the help I can get.
Well, that's who we are naturally. So, so that's that was easy. That's why we
that
were
didn't
cast
take
in those
any
roles.
work.
It was the finding the inner geek. Well, for me particularly at the beginning, that was the tough. No, I don't know. I mean, I think it's there. It's written on the page. Just the way in which, for example, the scene that I have with Gwenyth when we first get together, and I go to see her, and I'm sort of charming her with this, that, and the other. I mean, it's all written. It's so as long as the stuff's there on the page, then I think you can imagine it and follow it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just have to imagine that I'm cool and that'll somehow happen.
And someone needs to give you a good script.
We do need backup.
That's your department.
Here's my boys.